Dear students, welcome back to the session. So in the previous class, we discussed about the network management, and we have discussed about the configuration management, fault management, and performance management, and what are the factors that are affected by these different functions of a network management system that we have discussed. And with that, now we'll be moving on to the next concept, that is the security services. Okay, so and what is the network security? So network security can provide different services. Five broader categories we have. Four of these services are related to the message. Okay, so out of this it provides basically five services, and out of that four are related to the message, and the one is related to the authentication. So we are going to study in brief first, and then we are going to study in detail how these techniques works, and how these techniques provide, how these services provide a good platform for the communication between a sender and a receiver. So let me take up this. So security services are divided into two categories. One is message and one is the entity. So message are grouped, confidentiality, integrity, authentication, and non-repudiation. So these are related to the message, and the last one is authentication, that comes under the category of entity. So next we'll take up one by one the services. Uh, Okay, so first one is the message confidentiality. So what is basically message confidentiality is all about? So message confidentiality or privacy means that the sender and receiver expect confidentiality. That means when I am sending a message, okay, or a customer when he's sending a message to a bank, okay, customer communicates with a bank, or when he makes a transaction, there should be a proper confidentiality maintained. That means the information that is being exchanged between the customer and the bank should not be leaked. So every user or every customer expect that a bank should provide this message confidentiality. So this is with respect to the message confidentiality. And the transmitted message must uh, make sure that it's only to the intended receiver. So if I'm sending information from person A to B, so the whatever message I'm sending, it should be only intended for B itself. So it should not go to someone else. So if a customer is communicating with the SBI, the information or the communication should be exchanged between the customer and his SBI bank. It should not go to some other bank. So this is with respect to the message confidentiality. Next, we have one more is the message integrity. So what is message integrity? Basically, message integrity means there should be some synchronization between the sender and the receiver. So that we can call it as the message integrity. It means that the data must arrive at the receiver exactly they were sent. So whatever information I send here, the same information should reach to the destination. There must be no changes during the transmission. We have seen earlier that there can be transmission errors, or some by accidentally also the information can be changed, or it can be disturbed, and different information will be reached to the destination, but it should not happen. So message integrity tells that there should be proper synchronization between the message that we send, and the same message should reach to the destination. For example, again, if you take the customer communicates with a bank, if suppose say a customer is transferring 100 rupees or $100 from one account to the another account, or for he's paying $100 to a friend. So when the actually transaction take place, the next party, or the his friend should receive 100 rupees itself, or $100 itself. He should not receive $10,000 or 10,000 rupees. So if this is happening, then the message integrity is disturbed. So the network service or the security service expects that, or every individual expect that the message should have a proper integration. So there should be a proper synchronization with the message. So whatever message you're going to send, same message should reach at the destination. This is we need to take care when we are doing with the online transaction or with the monetary values. So because even if there is a small change, instead of $100, if you change it $1,000 or 100 rupees or 1,000 rupees, there's a lot of gap. So that should not happen. So that is with respect to the message integration or integrity. the integrity of the message must be preserved in a secure communication. So whenever you are sending a messages, basically most of the time related to the monetary values, we should have a proper secured communication medium. So this is with the respect to the message integrity. So next one we are going to discuss about is the message authentication. In message authentication, the receiver needs to be sure of the sender's identity and that an imposter has not sent the message. So message authentication in the sense what? So when a message is received to the receiver, or when a message is received by the receiver, he needs to be sure about the sender's identity. So suppose A and B are communicating. So when the message is received at the B, or when B receives the message, he must be sure that the message has been sent by A itself. There should not be any imposter. Imposter is a person who, or you can say a person who is seeing this communication, or behind the scene, or we can say a hacker or a imposter who is secretly viewing this in a communication, and he is trying to take some information, and he will change that information and he will send a different information. So that should not happen. So that is with respect to the message authentication. So if I receive, I mean, if the customer, I mean, if the bank receives some transaction query, or if I say that transfer 100 rupees from A, or for example, sorry, if I say that transfer 100 rupees from my account to my friend's account. So the bank should come in this place, and bank will say that, yes, this transaction is actually, this request has been actually raised by so and so person. So the bank should have a proper proof that the request has been raised by so and so person itself. So that is with respect to the message authentication. Next we have is the message non-repudiation. So let us understand what is the actual meaning of this non-repudiation. So non-repudiation is like a way to guarantee that the sender of a message cannot deny having sent the message, and that the recipient cannot deny having the message. So for example, if when I transact, or when I request for a bank to transfer 1,000 rupees or 100 rupees from one account to the another account, the banker, or the employee who is working in the bank, he should have a proper proof that, yes, it is correct, and he has requested for transaction of 100 rupees or 1,000 rupees from one account to the another account. So without proof, the bank employee cannot complete this transaction. So that is with respect to the non-repudiation. And he should also have some privileges, okay, which files he can use, or with all this information should be properly communicated with the banker and the communicator or the customer. So that is with respect to the non-repudiation. So before any mean, in a real time, when a banker is transferring account from one account to another account without any proof, he cannot do it. So if you have raised a request, or if you have asked, I mean, if you have requested the bank to transfer, and if he is having a proper proof, then only the banker will transfer the account from, I mean, the amount from one account to the another account. So that should be maintained properly. So that is with respect to the message non-repudiation. So next is the entity authentication. So in entity authentication or user identification, the entity or a user is verified prior to access the system resources. Okay. For example, if I want to use our, I mean, for example, they are given, for example, a student who needs to access our university resources needs to be authenticated during the logging process. So for example, if I'm a student and I want to access the information like a university syllabus, okay, and what are the departments that are there in the university, and what are the branches that are available, and what is the subject that is being taught in one of the particular branch, or the other resources can be to know the result of his or her exams, and all these resources, when a student want to access or his grades, for that authentication is required. So this is basically we can say that proper username and passwords are required before he accesses its information. Or even if you can take any login website. So I mean, when you want to access some information that is present on one of the particular website, you should, I mean, there should be a proper authentication is required. So before you access the files or any information that is present on that particular website, you should be have that proper credential. And if you are an authorized person or if you are authenticated, then only you can log into that and then you can access the information. So that is with respect to the entity authentication. So now we are going to study in detail about how this message confidentiality and integrity and authentication, non-repetition, all these are managed. For this, we need to study few important terms. So let us study those important things first. So first one we are going to discuss about is the message confidentiality. The concept of how to achieve message confidentiality or privacy has not changed for thousands of years. Okay, so from last many years, we have this concept of confidentiality. The message must be encrypted at the sender side and decrypted at the receiver side. So we are going to study about the concepts of encryption and decryption. So this can be used, I mean, this encryption and decryption techniques can be used when we are doing communication. To achieve this message confidentiality, we use these two techniques, that is encryption and decryption. So these two can be achieved with symmetric key cryptography, and one more is the asymmetric key cryptography. So we'll study few terms. So let us understand what is the meaning of cryptography. So cryptography basically is a Greek term, and it means secret writing. Okay, I mean that the information whatever is there, that will be converted into some other form, or secret writing we can say. That means it should be the message should be visible only at the sender side and at the receiver side. So if any third person wants to know that what is the actual original information, he cannot view it because it will be converted into a secret form. So that is nothing but the cryptography. Or in more detail, if you want to elaborate it, it is the science and art of transferring messages to make them secure and immune to attack. So we need to make messages in a way so that it is highly secured, and it can fight if there is any attack from the third party or from XYZ person or from the hackers. So that is with respect to the cryptography. So in cryptography, we have two things, that is the encryption and decryption. So what is basically encryption is all about? So I will explain with this example. So here we have a message that is called as hello, and it is wrapped, or some extra I mean hash symbol is been added here, or some you can say asterisk symbol, or some other information is added to that, and this message we can call it as the encrypted form. So if a third person or if anyone who wants to hack this information or to break this message confidentiality, he will try to access this, or entirely this entire information will be converted, like instead of using this all information will be converted into this form. So even if the third person tries to know what is the actual information, he will not understand this. So like this, the original message will be converted into some other format, and that will be sent to the receiver or to the destination. So we need to understand these techniques, I mean these terms. What is a plain text and what is a ciphertext? So plain text is the original information. The whatever the original information we have, that we call it as the plain text. And once that the plain text is encrypted with some keys or some other text we can say, or some other coding schemes, that this information we can call it as the ciphertext. And again, at the receiving side, at the destination or the receiver uses the decryption technique, where this ciphertext will be broken and you can get the original message that is being sent by the uh, sender. So these are the important terms that we need to remember. That is the cryptography, encryption, decryption. What is a plain text? Plain text is the original text, and once we do the encryption, whatever the converted form of the message we have, that we call it as the ciphertext. And at the destination, again we can get the original message, and that we call it as the I mean that is the original message, and this is what happens in the this process we can call it as the decryption. And also we need to remember one more term that is called as key. So what is basically a key? A key is nothing but a number, or you can say a set of numbers that the algorithm uses. So these encryption and decryption algorithms are called as cipher. Okay, cipher text is different and cipher is different. So the encryption decryption algorithms together we can call it as the cipher, and the this converted text after encryption, that we call it as the cipher text. So we require a key. We are going to study that what is a public key and what is a private key and so on. So with this key we can, the algorithm that operates, that we can call it as a key. Key is basically a number, or you can say a set of numbers that the cipher or the algorithms operates on. So after studying this, we'll go to the next part where we'll So we'll be studying this message confidentiality using the symmetric key in two directions. So message confidentiality can be achieved in two ways. I mean, with the symmetric key and with the asymmetric key. So let us discuss in this in detail. So in case of symmetric key, so we have two person here, Alice and Bob, and they want to communicate and they want to send a information. So there will be a message, like we took the example of hello. So this message has to be sent to this Bob. Okay, so what Alice will do, Alice will create its original information that we can call it as the plain text. Okay, and that it will use some encryption algorithm. So the encryption will be done, and the encrypted text, that we can call it as the cipher text, that will be sent to the destination or to the Bob. So for this they use a shared key, we can say. Okay, so this key is being shared with the sender as well as the receiver. So this using of a key is nothing but locking the message, that is with the encryption. Once the message is encrypted, it will be locked, okay, by the Alice, and the same information will be sent to the destination or to the Bob. In this the same key is used at the both the sides. So only one key is there, and the same key will be shared with both the parties, from for Alice as well as for the Bob. So the sender uses this key and encryption algorithm to encrypt the data. So once the data is encrypted, the information will be sent to the destination or to the Bob. Now at the receiver uses the same key and decryption algorithm to decrypt the data. So the receiver will use to open this. So to unlock this, the Bob will use the same key, and it will, I mean, he will decrypt the data and he will get the original message. So this is what happens with the, in case of symmetric key cryptography. So the same key will be shared with both the Alice and Bob, but this key will be meant for only one particular session, or like for example it can say it is only for half an hour or for 1 hour. So we cannot use it more than that. So it will be only for some period of time. So for this we call it as the, a session key is used only during a specific session. So this key is allowed for only one particular session. So next we can see the other directions. So suppose if Bob wants to send a reply, or if Bob wants to send a message to the Alice, so what he will do again, Bob will have his original message or her original message, and uh, this will be again used by the encryption algorithm, and then the data will be encrypted, and the same encrypted data will be sent to Alice. So again he is using the same shared key, and he will lock it, and the cipher text will be sent to the destination. Once the information is arrived as the Alice, again Alice will use the shared key that is being sent by the, I mean, that is being shared by the Bob, and he will unlock it, and the he can get the own, he can get the original information after the decryption algorithm runs. So this is what happens in case of symmetric key cryptography, or by using this we can achieve the message confidentiality. Next we'll be studying about message confidentiality using the asymmetric key. So what happens in case of asymmetric key? So in case of, as you see here, observe here, the key colors are different. So that means here we'll be having two different keys. Okay. So one will be with the Bob. I mean, Bob will create two keys. One will be the public key and one will be the private key. So what Bob will do, he will maintain, I mean, he will generate these two key and he will share only the um, I mean, he will share the public key and he will keep the private key with himself. So when the information has to be transferred from Bob to Alice, so he will announce two keys. One will be public and one will be the private key. So he will announce only the public key and he will maintain, I mean, he will keep the private key with himself. So again, the message will be logged with the encryption or decryption algorithm, I mean, with the encryption algorithm, and the same message will be sent. So the allies will lock the information with the public key that is being announced by the Bob. So usually in case of asymmetric key cryptography, the receiver, okay, the receiver will always generate two keys, that is the public key and private key. The receiver announces only the public key to the entire world, so that whoever wants to send the information, they can use this public key and they can encrypt the information, and that encrypted information will be sent to the receiver. So when the message is received at the Bob, what Bob will do, now Bob will be having his own private key and that is not shared for any other person. So he will use that private key and he will unlock the information by using the decryption, and the same information will be sent to Bob. So this is with how it happens. I mean, the communication that is being shown here from Alice to Bob. So similarly, if Bob wants to send a message to Alice, so what happens in case of this? So again here, Alice will be Alice will act as a receiver. So he will generate two keys. One will be public key and again one will be the private key. So if you want to make a differentiation between the symmetric key and asymmetric key, in case of symmetric key, we'll be having only one key, that is we call it as the shared key, which will be common. So whether you are using for encryption or whether you are using for decryption, the same key will be shared with the both the parties, and we can maintain the message confidentiality. But in case of asymmetric key, the receiver will have two keys. One will be the public key and one will be the private key, and he will keep the private key with himself and he will use it only for the decryption. So Alice will generate two keys now, one for the public and one for the private. And when Bob wants to send a message, so Bob will use the public key and he will logs this information, and the encrypted information, or that we can call it as the ciphertext, that will be sent to the Alice. So when the message is arrived at the this Alice machine, so he will use his own private key and he will decrypt the information by using the decryption algorithms, and then the original information will be received at the Alice. So this is the major difference between the symmetric key cryptography and asymmetric key cryptography. So by using these two techniques, we can say that message confidentiality is achieved. Next, we are going to study about the uh, message integrity and the techniques that are used in the message integrity. So just now we have seen that we use the encryption decryption algorithm to achieve the message confidentiality, but the encryption decryption will not provide the integrity. That means as we took the earlier example of sending 100 rupees from customer to a bank, so the transaction should occur and the same 100 rupees has to be transferred from one account to the another account. So there should not be any change in the message or in the transaction that we are carrying out. So how this has to be achieved, we are going to study it in detail now. So if you have any doubts, please let me know. So we are going to discuss the document and fingerprint and message digest in detail now. So how this technique works. So when we say message integrity, data must be received exactly it was sent. Okay, so the information should not be damaged, or it can be because of transmission errors or by uh, unauthorized person who has trying to get your information and try to change the information. So to avoid such things, we need to maintain, or we need to ensure that message integrity is properly maintained. So to preserve the integrity of a message, the message is passed through an algorithm called as the hash function. So whatever the information that we want to send to the destination, so for that we use this hashing algorithm or the hash function. So this hash function creates a compressed image of the message that can be used as a fingerprint. So the original message, or this we can call it as a document, so this will be converted into a message digest or a fingerprint, and this will be done by using this hashing algorithm or the hash function. As we can see in this diagram, so this is your original message or the document, and the same will be converted into message digest, or we can call it as the fingerprint. So this can be done using the hash function. So how this um, message digest or the fingerprint will be generated, or it will be created at the sender site. Okay, the message digest is created at the sender site and is sent with the message to the receiver. So to check the integrity of a message or document, the receiver creates a hash function again. So before the message is being transferred from Alice to Bob, the allies will uh, generate, message digest will be generated at the sender side by using the hash function. So this generated message or the digest will be generated, and this we call as the fingerprint. So that will be transferred to the destination side. So after at the destination side again, Bob, he will create his own message digest, and he will compare with the message digest that is being received from the allies. So it will check whether the message digest is same or no. If it is same, then he will accept it, otherwise he will discard it. So we have seen in the earlier case that when a customer wants to come in, when a when a banker want to complete the transaction, he should have a proper proof that the request has been sent by so and so person. So if he has got a proper proof that yes, the person ABC has asked for a request to transfer 100 rupees from one account to the another account, if he has got that proof, then only he can complete the transaction. So same thing happens here as well. So the Bob, after receiving the message digest, so the Bob will again generate a hash function, and he will create his own digest, and these two will be compared. Once it is checked, and if it is same, then the Bob will receive it, otherwise he will discard it. So this is what is the meaning of creating and checking the digest. So by using this technique, we can ensure that the message integrity is properly maintained. Next, we can see about the message authentication. Um, as we just now discussed about the message integration, okay, the message integration, the hash function guarantees message integration but does not authenticate the users. So it is related to only the message, whether the message is proper or no, only it will check that, but it will not guarantee that the it is being sent by the intended participant or the specified user itself. So for that, we need to modify this algorithm, or we need to modify this technique. So let us take this example again. So Alice sends a message to Bob. So Bob needs to know if the message is coming from Alice or Eve. So they have considered one more person, Eve. So he is a middle person, or you can say, or imposter we can say. So who is trying to secretly check what is being what is actually happening from between Alice and Bob. So he want to check, is there any possibility to know the information that is being sent from Alice and Bob, and he can hide that, he can copy that message, and he wants to disturb that actual original message. So to achieve this, we use this modification detection code and message authentication code. So what are these basically? So in message authentication, the receiver needs to be sure of the sender's identity and that an imposter has not sent the message. So the Bob should, before the Bob receive the message, or before he checks the message, he should ensure that it is actually been sent by Alice and not by the some other person, like for example Eve. So the digest created by hash function is normally called as the modification detection code. So the hash function, by using the hash function, we create this message digest, and this we call it as the MDC, that is the modification detection code. Okay, so the code can detect any modification in the message. So this MDC will detect if there is any modification, or if there is any changes that has happened in the message, that can be checked by the MDC. So to provide message authentication, we need to change a modification detection code to a message authentication code, that we can call it as the MAC. So Alice should, by using the hash function, he should convert it into message digest by using the hash function, and then by using the message authentication code, he will, by using the MDC, this we can call it as the MDC, and that it will be converted into message authentication code. So let us go in detail about this example. So Alice using the symmetric key. So as we discussed, symmetric key means what? Will be having, both sender and receiver will be having a common public key or a shared key between herself and Bob, and keyed hash function generates a MAC. So she then concatenates the MAC with the original message and sends the two to Bob. So we'll send the original message and also the concatenate to both the messages. One is the this MAC, and also he will share the symmetric key, that public key. So the public key and as well as the concatenated this MAC will be sent to the Bob. So then Bob receives the message and the MAC. So he will receive the original message as well as the this MAC, and then he separates the message from the MAC. So at the receiving side, again he will use this decryption algorithm, and again the MAC function will be operated here, and this will be executed, and he will separate the message, and he will check now whether the message is actually sent by Alice or no. So he then compares the MAC sent by Alice with the newly generated MAC. So again, this MAC, both the MACs will be matched, and if it is true, if it is correct, then the identical. If the MACs are identical, the message has not been modified, and the sender of the message is definitely Alice. So Bob will have a confidence on Alice that yes, the message that is being sent by Alice is actually the same, and no person or no imposter has used this message and he has damaged the message. So this is with respect to the um, message authentication. So we need to use with the message integration, we should also use this, a message authentication code, that is the MAC. So by using this techniques, we can achieve the message authentication. So we have discussed the different security services that are provided. Uh, we have discussed about the message authentication, message integration, message confidentiality, and message non-repudiation. Okay, and entity authentication. And in detail, we discussed about the what do you mean by cryptography, and what is a encryption, decryption, and what is a public key and what is private key, and how this message confidentiality can be achieved by using the symmetric key cryptography and asymmetric key cryptography. And also we discussed about how we can use this hash function, and we can use this message digest to achieve the message integration, message integrity. And also we discussed about this message authentication. So that's all for the today's session. So if you have any doubts, let me know.